Alright, this video I'll begin here at A20. That's A20. No shade whatsoever. Nice if you want to walk to the other side, to the bay side. This is A21 right here. A21 has plenty of shade, both in the front and in the back area as well. Plenty of shade to work with. A21. Over here to the right, we have A22.
Wait, get out of the way.
A22 has no shade. Most of these that are on the bay side don't have shade. This is A22. This is A23. Also no shade. A22. Over here on the left, we continue with A25, which gets a little bit of shade in the morning. Your picnic area has shade right in the middle of the day, as you can see. That's A25. So there's a little bit of shade right here. What would have been shade probably, broke a long time ago there. And so there's just a tiny little bit of shade there. Over here to the right, we have A24. A24 has a lot of shade, and it's a pretty large site. It has a little trail that goes back to the restroom in the back over there. I'm not sure if you can see it. I'll try to go over here. It has a little trail that goes back towards the restroom sites. This is another one that gives you great shade because of this ginormous tree that's right here. This ginormous tree. This is A26, another fantastic site. A26. And so there's also enough so you can park your RV, perhaps your truck, depending on how large your RV. If it's a little RV or a small pop-up camper, a scamp or something like that, you could probably park right here and still even have room for a tent in the back or between these trees over here. Really nice. A27. A27 gets some shade. A27 gets some shade over there. Some shade at A27. Pretty nice shade if you have a couple of tents in the background. That's A27. Moving on, of course you have a little bit of a swamp back there. A28 gives you a little bit of shade in the middle of the day and in the morning. I would say in the evening it probably wouldn't, because the sun would be coming from that direction towards this direction this way. So you probably wouldn't be getting a whole lot of shade. This one over here has a fantastic shaded area right behind it. It's a pretty big site if you think of that, and it also holds a long vehicle, A29, Alpha 29. But your RV, your rig, if it's parked here in the cement, will not be getting any shade. That's A30. Alpha 30 gets a little bit of shade in the morning, as you can see, because of these trees here. In the morning it'll have shade, so you'll be able to sleep in a little bit. Then once middle of the day comes through, it's going to be quite hot. Also, the picnic table is not covered, so this may be a better site for, like, say, the winter when it's not as hot. This is A31, a small site, a lot of rocks in this site. Right behind it, of course, a little, not lake, but a little bit of water. You can hear the crickets and the toads and frogs at night. A31, no shade. A32 here has a little bit of shade. That shade actually is, for if you're going to be picnicking, but during the day and in the morning you're still going to get sun in this one. No shade from sun. That's A32. A33 right here you're looking at. A33 gets plenty of shade in the morning. Then in the afternoon, when that sun creeps around, it's not going to be a lot of shade. A35, Alpha 35 does not have any shade, except in the back there. If you're going to pitch a tent like these folks actually did, that's nice. Over here, this is Alpha 34. Again, it's a big site with a trail through the back. It seems like you can actually pitch a tent in there, in the site. It's also a long site, so if you have a big rig, a big bus type rig, it's a good site for it. Again, A35 here is great for being able to pitch a tent under this beautiful tree. That one over there lost a lot of limbs. I'm sure it was probably a well-shaded site before. So this is the update. As we continue, one of the things that might be detractor here for A35 is the fact you're right next to the dumpster. The good news is that most of the time, if you come in the summer, the winds are coming from the south. So likely sites A21, A23, the sites on the other side are probably going to be getting some of the smells from this dumpster. Although we're in A21 and we can't really smell anything. There's kind of a watery area here, very nice. You can see the area here with tall grasses, a lot of toads, probably snakes. In fact, we've been here when there's been snakes in somebody's campground. They had to get out of their camp across from A21 from where we are. Let's continue the walk. One good thing about 125, which we just passed, A25, is that it's not far from the restrooms and the laundry room, which is really nice. So the laundry room is on this side, restroom for men and on one side, the other side hosts the women's, and at the end are the showers. There's 3 rooms for showers. The middle one is an ADA shower. Let's go. Over here, this one's really good for somebody who needs a lot of space. This is an ADA site, I believe, and it's right there with the restroom. So from a noise perspective, it may be a little noisy, but it's not a bad site either. Really, all the sites at A are pretty good. This is A37. A37 doesn't get any sun. Doesn't get any shade, and it's right up against the lake area, whatever it's called. One thing you'll appreciate here is the flora. It's beautiful. There's a lot of beautiful flowers and stuff to look at. Here to the left, with some decent shade, at least for the sitting areas and the grill and whatnot, is campsite A36. Excuse me, it's A38, correction. A38 is very close to the restrooms, very close to the showers. As you can see, there are the restrooms and showers right there. So as I was saying, the middle one is the ADA. There's 4 showers, it seems like, but one of them is closed. That's why I said 3. The last one to the right is closed right now. Hopefully by the time you come, they will all be back in service. This over here to the left is Alpha 39, is that right? Yes, A39. It gets some shade, but not in the middle of the day. It gets most of its shade in the evening because the sun comes from the west and shining towards the east. But in the morning, you're going to be woken up by the warm sun. Same thing can be said of Alpha 41 rather. A41 and A43 over there at the other end are also the same. There's pretty much full sun the entire day. A40 gets pretty good shade in the morning, some decent shade in the afternoon, and pretty good shade in the evening. It's actually not a bad site at all. That's A40. A42. A42 is right here. It gives you some shade in the morning, a little bit from all these trees here, and a lot of shade from the evening. Only thing is, again, it's backed up into the area that's kind of swampy, or that, the water, so you may have some snakes and things like that to deal with from time to time, but probably not. This little trail right here, you can climb over that little trail, the little hump there, and it goes right to the beach trail. So if you want close access to the beach trail, A42 is your name. Same with A43. I've actually stayed on this site before and had a pretty decent time. It doesn't have a lot of shade, but it still does well. If you have an RV that has, or a pop-up camper that has air conditioning, it'll do you well. Here is the exit, and this exit leads you towards the trail to go to the beach. So you can see the trail right here. I'm going to go ahead and stop for a second, and you can see The trail that heads to the beach is right across the street. Right across the street there. You just walk that trail all the way in between those dunes right over there, and you get to the beach, which is absolutely gorgeous. We'll be going over there later on today. Hopefully you'll see some of that video. This is A1. A1 has fantastic shade in the morning. The breakfast area stays shaded until probably about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. After that, you're in full sun. So if you can, do like these people right over here to the left, which what they did is they put a large canopy, some canopies to cover themselves. So when a natural structure can't give you shade, you can give yourself shade. A2, again, breakfast time, early in the morning, you get some shade. These sites also have pretty good amount of room and space to be able to pitch tents. This is A2. A2 doesn't have a whole lot of room. It basically backs into a bush. So this is one of the smaller sites, A2. It does take a large bus. You have one. A3 takes a very large bus. We saw one the other day. A3, excuse me. As I look here to the right, we have A4. A4, again, backs into the bush, so not a whole lot of room. But it does have a nice wooded area that stays shaded pretty much the entire day. See around the corner here, a lot of room to pitch tents back there. So you have 1-2 tents, you have a breakfast tent or something like that you can do. A5 is the same as A3 pretty much. It does get some afternoon shade because it does have some trees. A6 over here on this side, A6 is an entirely shaded place. Very good, very good, and it has a lot of room. And they really put the picnic table way back there too. A7 is similar. It's got decent shade throughout the day. It does have somewhat of a break, so this is better for a hard RV. Alpha 8 has decent shading as well, as you can see. Alpha 9. Alpha 9 also has some shade in the back, although for the most part, there's somebody there, so I don't want to really show the video of it. But it's actually, maybe you've seen it now that they're on the other side. It has shade in the back, but in the front side, you're going to get woken up. This one right here, A11, is completely bare, but it does have a nice picnic table again if you have a tarp, kind of the way they did that over there in A13. Same thing. This is A10, has fantastic shade pretty much throughout the strength of the, when the sun is the strongest. And you can pitch probably, you see you have a lot of room to pitch tents. A12, it'll wake, and the morning sun will wake you up. That's where I stayed last year. A12. It's still decent. It gives you some shade during the heat of the day, as you can see. People have their citronella candles. Very nice. A13 is the camp host site, so at this point, I don't believe that's going to be available for rent to be able to reserve. A13 is almost always host campsite. Okay, to the right here, A14. A14 gets you morning shade. Then during the day, it gets kind of icky. That tree does give you a little bit of room, a little bit of shade. A15, no shade. Except the eating area, and you're right next to the nature trail. As you can see, there's a little nature trail that goes all the way across here. The nature trail extends all the way there, and of course, thankfully, the nature trail entrance has doggy poo bags, and just so people can take care of their animals as they go through. It's really nice, the nature trail. A16 will have morning shade from this tree that's next to the trail, but after that it's going to be pretty sunny pretty much throughout the day until the evening, when this tree over here may provide a little bit of shade to the picnic area. This is a camp host site, so it's not available for rental. I think it's A17. You cannot reserve that. And right across from me, I think I've already seen or talked about that one. That is I believe it's a 20. I believe it's a 20. Is it? No, it's A18. No shade. A19 gives some shade in the morning from this tree over here, and in the evening it's okay. And of course this one here is where I stayed. It's complete shade almost all the time. It's pretty nice.